So up next we have Jawahir. Make a brief introduction. Jawahir Ahmed. She's a counselor and holds a Bachelor of Counselling and Diploma in Health Psychology. She's worked for a diversity of counselling across New Zealand. She has 30 years of experience working with NGOs. She doesn't look that old. She's so beautiful. 30 years experience. Wow, that's amazing. In refugees, and is it in refugee camps or with refugees? Yes. Yeah, in both overseas and in New Zealand. For the past 3 years, she's worked with refugee and migrant youth as counselor in educational settings. She'll be speaking on mental health and how to protect young people and seek support when needed. Shall we welcome Jawahir?
Good evening. My name is Jawahir Ahmed. First, I would like to say thank you to the organizers and the African community, our chairperson, Cindy, whom I met with the wonderful Chile, I think it was last year. I'm here tonight to share with you a story that I think when you leave here tonight, you will take something with you and you will remember. And maybe you know someone in your family or a friend that who is impacted in mental health. Because I'm a counselor and work with youth, I was talking to less than 100, maybe about 100 students and 4 qualified teachers. These 4 teachers, 3 of them, they were in the business nearly 30 years. And I was a bit nervous while they were watching me and felt a bit uncomfortable and, of course, intimidated because I'm just a counselor. I don't get much of information. However, I was employed to talk to these children, to empower them, to talk about bullying, how to master techniques that I learned from my clinical supervisor. Every time I go to him, I ask him, what can I say to youth? What can I tell them? For the past 3 years, I have spoken to and counseled 300 children. All of those children, 99.9% of these children are ethnic children, from Somalia to Uganda, Kenya, Zimbabwe, very small Kiwi children. None of those children told me that they have problems at home. It's not about the mom, it's not about the dad. I'm a counselor, and according to ethics, I am not allowed to discuss with you those things. However, I must mention those kids don't have problems at home. They have problems with friendship, social media, anxiety, society caused issues. By the way, I was ashamed on my community, on the people that surround me, the people that I know. I came to New Zealand in 1996 when I was a bit younger. Then I was always involved in the community. You don't judge me because there's stigma surrounding mental health. And we need to break that. Yes. We need to stop that because mental health is the punishment. The mothers here tonight, I have a message for you. And I want to leave this with you. If you have a daughter, if you have a son, regardless your color, your ethnicity, and who you are, this is the message. When your daughter or son in their room and you don't know what they're struggling with, when they are not talking to you, talk to your children and ask. Because nowadays, it's the social media that makes our children busy. They log in their rooms and we don't know what they're doing and what others are saying to them. Okay. It is really essential that we need to talk to our younger people. Because nowadays, it looks like though, because we are busy in today's society, our children have their own world, and we have our own world. They are our number one. My message to you that is really important. When something like this happens, we don't have to be ashamed. We need to share so we can protect others. And I feel a bit like, how can I put this, like being in the business and doing this, when this has happened, I had the courage. I felt I have the courage tonight to share this with you with the permission of my daughter, but I know that many of us in our communities, in our diversity communities, this issue is there. It's there, but we are not there yet to discuss. Yeah, and according to youth agencies, they say that the children tell us that parents are not listening to us. The reason that they go to external agency, it is because they felt youth today are not being listened at home. Thank you very much.
Are there any questions from the audience?
Thank you for that. That was really amazing. I just wanted to ask, like, obviously being a minority here, will children get bullied at school, or is there a platform where they can share their experiences, or they can encourage from each other, or is there, like, for especially from Africans, is there a platform where they can go and find a safe space?
To answer your question, during the election, when Labour wanted to be elected, they announced that they will be giving large sum of money to schools because they acknowledge the need for the mental health and the youth, what's happening today in our youth. However, the government decided they need to give that money to Skylight and Presbyterian services, agencies. So today there's so many agencies, and you hear here, my colleague has a private practice, and she extending now to also support youth. And also there's a lot of other agencies, like school, you can talk to your school if you're going to high school, there's a guidance, counselors. So yeah, there are a lot of services. And also youth line. You can also call youth line. Yeah. Your school will have external services that you can contact, but also you can go to like Evolve. There's another agencies in town called Evolve, and also they are helping youth, and they have the environment where you get together maybe twice a week, and there are games and things like that. But the numbers are like, yeah, you can get from the schools and also check on 0800 youth line.
The counselling that you refer to is culturally appropriate. So I work with people from a large number of ethnic backgrounds, and sometimes they are, referred to counselling or therapy, and it falls short with cultural competency and cultural appropriateness, and that's a huge concern for me. Because I'm responsible for referring people and for finding help for people. So sometimes it's just like, who is culturally competent, who is culturally appropriate where counselling is concerned? Do you get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Who's out there?
So that's a big question for us as ethnic people, that we need to actually look at it. In schools, for example, today in Wellington, we have, I don't know how many high schools, but we have 91 guidance counselors, and I'm a part of that group. So that 91 counselors run 91 schools, obviously. That 91 schools and those guidance counselors, I sit with them in a meeting like this, and there was no one looked like me. Was the only one, and that was my concern, and that's alarming to me. So that's something that the community need to look at. I was the only one working in those schools, and there are so many, like the diversity is huge in those communities. Like I mentioned, like Uganda, Somalia, Kenya, Rwanda, Iraq, you name it. So we need, but there's obstacles. Are you actually giving the opportunity to, yes, you could have the, the qualifications to work in those schools, But there is an issue that we need to break the cycle. Yeah. To let people enter there and to support youth, because we need to work with our youth to work in these schools.
Just a question, is there any way that we as parents can do more if your child has been referred to camps, for example, and then after several meetings, after a suicide attempt, and after several meetings, the panel just decide, because some kids are just not forthcoming, they're not working together, they're not telling anything what's happened, and then they give you as an option as a parent, maybe try force medication or try and get the person out to a mentoring, someone like Challenge 2000 that can mentor, build some relationship with it. I was in that position, and it took 15 years before they eventually, after the second suicide attempt, which I must say the school has been really great. They were the ones that saw on social media what he was planning, and they intervened and referred him back to camps and got me to stay at home and work with him. It took 15 years before they diagnosed him with ADHD, and I was shocked that since the age of 6, I as parent couldn't see that he was severely depressed, doing self-harm, when I found things on social media and in his diary. He eventually, by the grace of God, he is on full-time medication. He's now his 4th year trying to become a clinical psychologist. However, with me as a parent, I'm always concerned about him. He doesn't live with me, he's on campus, but if I haven't heard or haven't been able to touch base with him for about 4 or 5 days, I check his bank account where it was, and then I start panic. It never leaves me, it doesn't matter how successful, because I know he's not well. What would you say for a parent? I had to let him go. How can you still make sure that your kid is safe?
So the best thing is to work with the, clinical practitioners. You need to build that relationship with the clinical practitioners. So for you to be there, I know you're a good mother. And tonight, I want to acknowledge and confess that all of us sitting here, there is no one love our children than us. No mother, no one loves a child than the mother. And I know that when you work with the doctors, when you involve, they also support you. So if there's anything that you like concerned, or you want to let them know that, for example, to bring you home, and if you think it's safe, medical safe, then that's something that you need to put forward. And also you need to have someone supporting you. Sometimes we ethnic people, and I'm speaking from experience, if you don't have that support worker, when you see a doctor, a European doctor, sometimes, I'm sorry, I'm outspoken person, it's a bit hard. So you need to have someone supporting you, believing in you, and also you need to be medically safe, because you cannot also bring home a patient that you cannot look after. So build that trust with them, present your case, have a support. Put it in writing, because in New Zealand they like to read things, they don't like to talk like we talk ethnic people. They need to send emails, strong emails. Yeah.
I just want to share with other mothers. My son, my middle boy, he's 21. For a long time he had difficulty. This is how they present. He had difficulty at school, in primary school. What do they call it here? Grade school. He would have problems. He was always unsettled. They display in 2 ways. Either they're very they disturb the class, or they're the ones who are shy and they get ignored. So my son was, he swayed from the one who was the class clown, and when he was rebuked, he shied away, and especially in year 6, year 7, he was the shy one. He never said a word. And his grades started going backwards. So not differences, the extremes are always indications. The other thing is always speak to your children's teachers. The teachers see things that we do not see.
Absolutely.
That is if they're good teachers. Disclaimer. If they're good teachers, they know your child. So these parent-teacher meetings, yes, parent-teacher meetings, please go. Please go and ask questions. Don't just sit there and let the teacher say. Ask, how is he in class? Does he participate? Does he finish his homework? Does he have friends? She have friends? Do they socialize? Does he go out for break? Does he sit with people? You know, ask those questions. We need to be alert. We work hard and we're not near our children most of the time. Then when you come home in the evening, notice them, ask them. They become difficult when they become teenagers and they don't share as much. But try to see, do they have friends? Friend them on social media. I'm a nosy mother. I find them on social, I stalk them. Or I stalk their friends. If they don't allow me to friend them, I stalk their friends. Or I stalk their friend's mother. I don't care. I have to know. You know, be a nosy mother. There's no other way, you know. I don't mind, I do. The other thing is, I have a cool sister. She's a cool auntie. So they like to befriend her. So there might be someone in the community who they like. It doesn't have to be you. They don't have to be pals with you. They can be pals with uncle so-and-so, auntie so-and-so, or an unmarried auntie, or, you know, when we go out, they socialize with certain people. Befriend those people and find out where your child is and what your child is doing.
How about when they're afraid to talk to anyone and they're afraid because our society and our cultural counseling is like,
I know, but I don't know. Find a way.
So yeah, that's what I wanted to ask.
Because you just have to find a way. So my son, like I was saying, for many years we didn't know he was autistic, and he wasn't diagnosed, and it wasn't caught, and it was only when he turned 19 that he was starting to do those major exams that they realized his learning was behind. And so that is when we caught it. But it is, I didn't know. I mean, you don't know until you know, eh? But
because it's not teaching the society.
It is not taught. But this is where we look out for each other. And now I know. And if there's somebody who suspects that their child is autistic or is going through this, I know, and I'm a sister, and I can help. So we help each other.
I just wanted to thank you for sharing your story. There's something that you mentioned, which I'm sure we all heard, but I want to emphasize on that. You said you stopped working. Of course, we may not all be able to stop working, but I sometimes feel that as ethnic people, because we can spend a week here talking about the responsibilities that we have back home, and so we might feel sometimes like we're on a roller coaster where it's just going fast, and we actually don't have time to pause and have a look at what's happening within our own environment, within the home. So again, just acknowledging the lady who mentioned about culturally appropriate services. Sometimes it can be really difficult to understand what is appropriate for your own child when you don't understand them, because we are busy working. At most, when we talk to them, it's about assigning what they need to do or asking if they've done it. So just acknowledging that sometimes we have to put work at a pause if we can, and I'm sure that was the main thing that you could also say did help, because all your energies were now invested on your child, and good on you, because I think sometimes we miss out on the fact that we do need to be there for the children. They are the most precious gifts that we can ever have, and if they are not doing well, we are also not quite doing okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Not really a question, but thank you for sharing. And also, it's all very nice of us to say, oh, you know, get your kids counselling. It's more of the ambulance at the bottom of the cliff. Once I've fallen over, now you get an ambulance. How about, as I'm speaking as a child, as parents, because I realize that you guys all grew up in a different place, in a different setting, with different priorities. We're all growing up in a different place with different settings and different challenges. Like my auntie said that sometimes you don't understand your own children, which is all fine, but how about a change of mindset? Because sometimes the responses we get when we say, oh, I'm really depressed or I have anxiety, it's what is that? Is that a white people disease? You know, so how about changing mindsets and self-educating so that there's not just an ambulance at the bottom of the cliff, because it's not just, I've heard so many stories, and watching all the young ones go through this, I see it, but then I also understand, being the age I am, that our parents grew up in a different place, in a different setting, so maybe it's about our parents changing their mindsets.
Okay. I just want to say thank you so much for being so vulnerable and opening up. But this is a question to you and some of the counsellors. When you're very open to seek a counsellor, but the system, like, when you're open to see a counsellor, but you don't have a genuine connection with a counsellor, what do you do? And also, if you don't have the support from your school or from your family, then where do you go to seek for help? Because like that'd be a hard challenge for some people.
Something you want to discuss because you're seeking outcome. If you're not happy and not getting worth for your money and your time, request immediately another counselor because it's about connection.
And I would just like to add on to what the lady over there said, so I'm really bad with names, but just breaching a gap of where I know African parents, I love African parents, but it can be a bit tough. I think it would be helpful if you're not just a parent to your kid and actually a friend to them, because other things that I see my friends and myself go through, and we just like, and no offense to the African ladies in here, but we learn from you where we're so used to seeing all you ladies being so strong, so you think those are the footsteps that you're supposed to follow in. So I guess breaching that and being friends with your kids, and so they know that they actually, you showing your vulnerability makes room for your kids to show what they're going through. But if what we see is you're strong, I feel like I have to be strong too, if that makes any sense.
Children, and I mean, you're right, we need to listen to you more, but I think we need a partnership. Yeah? I grew up in Zambia. I'm almost 50. All I know is my African tradition. It is extremely difficult for me to just throw everything out, because my African tradition has got deep values, deep things that I treasure. I have a number of children. I'm a doctor. I'll be honest, my son, I've never taught him about sex, because I told him who to go and ask, because that is a cultural thing, and he will learn well from other people than me. Because if I told him what sex is and what to do, he will actually be really shocked. I don't want to shock my son, because what I do, he might actually feel embarrassed to look at me the next time. I've got 2 girls. I have tried to be very open with them. I am the mother, I told them, I am the mother first, but I will guide them. I took them to, the first time they went to a nightclub, it was me. I told them, never leave your drink attended. I've told them a bit about sex, but there's certain nitty-gritty things that I will not tell them culturally, but I will find somebody to do that on my behalf. And for you, our children, we understand that you are growing up in a culture that is different. So what we would want you to do, please come to us and try and meet us halfway as well. We love you dearly, the bullying that
it's not just
the bullying that you go through at school, we know about it. We know about it, but sometimes we are powerless to change. Please meet us halfway, and we're there for you. Talk to us all the time. Even when you think that we're not listening, just say, "Ma'am, please, ma'am, do this." Yeah?
Just to add to Caroline's point, I have a 4-year-old and a 9-year-old, and I believe, you know, I'm 42, so I am a mother first, and then I'm a friend. So there's certain things. For example, my daughter is not allowed a phone, and I know this is pretty controversial because I know the school that she goes to, kids as young as 6, 7, or 8 have phones, and I'm not being judgmental, but these are the rules in my household. Because when it comes to like bullying, you know, if she's being bullied at home, at school, then if she doesn't have a phone, it doesn't follow her there. So it's really important for kids to understand that yes, I am the mother, and right now I am your manager. It will come a point in your life where I'll be a consultant, but right now, you know, I'm your manager, and I need to give you the basic tools to be able to survive in this world. Because trust me, it's not easy. Thank you.
I just want to add and respond to something that you mentioned in terms of what you say in regard to we want to meet you halfway. You are absolutely right, 100%. I agree with you. I recall a client of mine a while ago last year. This special boy mentioned to me that he didn't want his family to come into school because I constantly, every session, I requested him, call your mom to the school, let the family involve, because I was always getting triggered myself. We're all aware of what trigger is. Get triggering because of my own children being bullied. As a counselor, sometimes we are, you know, able to control our triggers, but sometimes, you know, we are human. So when a child comes to me and tell me that they are struggling because someone is actually abusing them, sometimes physically, they get hit in the head or being like, you know, something bad happened, and I want them to bring the family, call your mom or call your dad. They will say no. I don't want, because sometimes our children, they think that things will be harder for them. When they complain, it will get even more harder. They will lose friends. Sometimes our children come home and tell us that they have friends, but the friends they have are not even real friends. And this is why. When you know your friend, it's someone who actually, you know the sports that they play, you know their family's names, you know what they eat for dinner, you know where they go. But you just sit with them for 1 minute during the lunch break and you think that's your friend. Our children need to know who their real friends are. And when they have issues like you mentioned, it's absolutely important that they need to include us.
All right. I think we're just gonna start with the dinner because I know that we are all getting hungry.